Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wrestle Rumble podcast. I'm your host, Movie Master Mike, and we're going to be talking Wrestlemania 35 match predictions. So here we go. I know it's coming up late, but I got to get this done so I can get it uploaded. So I'm going to run through it as pretty much as fast as I can. So on the pre-show, we have Buddy Murphy versus Tony Nese for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. And Buddy Murphy has had it for a while. He's a monster, but and I don't know if Tony Nese is the guy to actually take it off of him, but I'm going to pick Tony Nese anyway, just because I think it might be time for Buddy Murphy to drop it. But yeah, so I'm going to go Tony Nese. Next, we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, with everybody that doesn't have anything going on at WrestleMania is going to be in this, and I'm going to pick Braun Strowman. I mean, he's the biggest guy in there. He's the only huge name, I would say, that's in there, so Braun Strowman. Next is the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, which is ridiculous that it's even here because it doesn't matter whatsoever. But there's only a few big names that are in there, and Asuka's one of them, but they've been really high on Mandy Rose lately, so I'm going to pick Mandy Rose just because. All right, next we have the Usos versus Ricochet and Aleister Black versus The Bar versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. I'm going to pick Ricochet and Aleister Black. I know there's reports that Ricochet might be a little injured, and the Usos haven't had the belts for that long, but I mean, they've been champs a bunch of times. Ricochet and Aleister Black need to win something to legitify them on the main roster, not just, they win some matches and they kept losing to the Bar the Revival when the belts were on the line. When they weren't on the line, they'd get a win, and Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev, for some reason the WWE just seems to hate them. So I'm going to go with Ricochet and Aleister Black. Our next is the Boston Hug Connection versus Beth Phoenix and Natalya versus the Iconics versus Nia Jax and Tamina for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. And I kind of want to say Beth Phoenix and Natalya, just because Beth Phoenix came back. She's this huge monster, but and the Iconics, I don't know. I don't think it's their time yet. And Nia Jax and Tamina, there would be no reason for them to have the belts around their waist right now. So it's really between Beth Phoenix and Natalya versus the Boston Hug Connection. And with Natalya's father being inducted into the Hall of Fame last night as part of the Hart Foundation, and the things that happened there, which was kind of weird. Some guy bum rushed the ring and attacked Bret Hart. But that aside, it would be the right time to give her a belt. I mean, her father passed away last year. Her whole feud with Ronda Rousey never really happened. They had the one match. But I'm going to give it to the Boston Hug Connection. I think they're going to have their moment at WrestleMania. They won the belts, the inaugural belts, and I think they're going to retain at WrestleMania to have their big moment, and they can lose it at any other time, and it won't be they lost the belt at WrestleMania. No, these are two of the best women wrestlers they've got, part of the Four Horsemen and the whole NXT thing, and so I think Boston Hug Connection are going to retain. Next, we have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. And I want Drew McIntyre to win. I'm not a huge Roman Reigns fan, not that I don't like him. Before the whole leukemia thing, I thought he was kind of boring. When he won the belt at SummerSlam, it was okay, cool. Brock doesn't have it, and then they started the whole Shield thing against the Hounds of Justice or whatever, and that was really cool. All the matches were really good. But then he went away with his leukemia, and now that he's back, I never hated him before, and you gotta like him now. I mean, he beat leukemia for the second time. That's amazing. So he cannot lose at WrestleMania for his first real big match, his first solo match really since coming back. So I'm gonna give it to Roman Reigns. There's no way he's gonna lose to Drew McIntyre, even though I do like Drew McIntyre much better. He's one of my favorite guys on the roster right now. But Roman Reigns. Next is Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And Finn Balor is coming out as the Demon, which I wish they would have kept that a secret. I mean, we all knew it was happening, but they didn't have to come out and show us basically on Raw, which was very cheesy, where he goes blah, like it was just, they held on him for too long. And I think the one thing that Finn Balor as the Demon needs to do to look even cooler is put in contact lenses, because with just his normal eyes with all that makeup, he doesn't look nearly as menacing. And you look at somebody like Ember Moon who wears contacts, and it adds to it. Lacey Lane down in NXT, she wears the contacts, and it makes her look even more like awesome. So I think he needs to do that. But either way, Finn Balor as the Demon's going to win. He's going to come out, he's going to do like 2 or 3 moves maybe, and he's going to win. He's going to be the Intercontinental Champion. So that's a no-brainer. Next is Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the WWE United States Championship. Now, there was rumors that Rey Mysterio got injured, but apparently he is cleared to have the match. I'm going Samoa Joe. If he doesn't win, I'm going to be mad. Not that I don't like Rey Mysterio, but I've never really been a big Rey Mysterio fan. And Samoa Joe is just awesome as a heel, and him having something of importance makes it even cooler that, he's this like awesome heel. Like he actually wins things, not just he keeps losing, even though he's an awesome heel. So I'm gonna go Samoa Joe. Next is AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. And I mean, I really don't care. It doesn't matter. I like AJ Styles. I'm going to go AJ Styles just because he's the face and it's WrestleMania. Next is Shane McMahon versus The Miz. Falls Count Anywhere. I'm going to go The Miz. Shane McMahon will always lose at WrestleMania, and The Miz is the face, and he actually has something to fight for because he got screwed out of his best friend, his bestie thing. So The Miz. Next is Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin, which everyone wants it to not be Baron Corbin. Everyone is really up in arms about it. They don't want it to be Baron Corbin for Kurt Angle's final match at WrestleMania and final match in WWE. But I really don't care. I mean, I don't like Baron Corbin all that much. But I don't really like Kurt Angle all that much either. I never have. Even when he first started and stuff, I was like, he took the Patriots theme song and his neck, and I don't know. I was never a huge Kurt Angle fan. So I don't care that his last match is with Baron Corbin. It really doesn't bother me. And even if he's facing somebody else, it doesn't matter who he's facing. Kurt Angle will win. It's his last match. It's WrestleMania. They're going to give him, at least I hope they're going to give him a win for his farewell match. So Kurt Angle. Next, Triple H versus Batista with a career on the line. And Triple H is the face and Batista is the heel. And I don't really have anything invested in Batista. I know him more of an actor. I didn't watch wrestling for 18 years, basically, of the 2000s. This whole millennium, I haven't watched wrestling until about a year ago. So I know Batista better as an actor. I know Triple H more from when he was playing second fiddle to Shawn Michaels. I'm going to go Batista. I'm going to say he wins. He gets his final, FU or whatever to Triple H, and Triple H will never professionally wrestle again. And he can just focus on being the man behind the scenes, especially since Vince McMahon's probably going to be focusing a lot on the XFL, especially since the AAF just suspended everything. So with that happening, the XFL looks like it might be doomed. I mean, it's going to be on Fox, I believe, since they're making this deal with Fox for SmackDown and stuff. So I think Vince might be preoccupied with making sure that stays afloat and doesn't die like the AAF just did. And Triple H will have to, step in for Vince, and I don't think he's going to be on screen all that much wrestling. So I'm going to go Batista, retire Triple H. Next is Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Everybody loves Kofi Kingston except for me. I've got nothing invested in him. He had one good showing in a gauntlet match, which was meant for somebody else. And then he was just all of a sudden the most popular person that everybody loved and wanted to be champion. I love Daniel Bryan as this heel. I liked him before. He was always good in the mic. He's good in the ring. But now he's a heel and he has that new Eco belt and everything. He's awesome. I don't want to see him lose it. Not anytime soon. Maybe SummerSlam. But I would like to see him go until Survivor Series or something as the champion. So I'm rooting for Daniel Bryan, just because I don't really like the New Day. The whole pancakes and unicorn things. I don't care. So I'm rooting for Daniel Bryan, but I think they're going to give it to Kofi. They've tried and tried to make us, think that he might not even have this match by, win this gauntlet and win that gauntlet, and your partners can win this gauntlet, and you're not going to be at Fastlane. It's going to be Kevin Owens, and then you're not going to do this, and you're just a B+ player, and so they're going to give it to him. They're going to give it to Kofi Kingston. So I'm picking Kofi Kingston. Next is Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Universal Championship. And again, I don't hate Brock Lesnar. I hate that he's never there. I don't think a part-timer like that should be the Universal Champion. So I'm going to say Seth Rollins is going to win it. If Brock Lesnar were a full-timer, I think he's pretty good. Every match I've seen him wrestle since last year has been pretty awesome. I mean, the Crown Jewel one was just, 5 F5s or whatever, but the one with him and Daniel Bryan was awesome. The one at SummerSlam was awesome. Finn Balor was awesome. So, I mean, I know he can do it. Just he needs to actually show up and do it. And I think now is the time. I mean, everybody said that last year, that he was going to lose it at WrestleMania, and he didn't. But I'm going to go Seth Rollins. All right, next and finally is Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch for both the WWE Raw Women's Championship and the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Wow. Both belts are on the line. This is nuts. When it was just one belt, I was like, oh, they're probably just going to give it to Becky. Obviously, she's been the most popular person in the WWE since SummerSlam up until Kofi Kingston just recently. But then they just randomly gave Charlotte Flair the belt. They just randomly inserted Charlotte Flair. I know it's been the plan since Ronda Rousey came in that you guys, Ronda and Flair, are going to have a match at WrestleMania and probably headline. So they were trying to find a way to make that happen. And it looked like Becky wasn't going to have anything to do with it up until SummerSlam. If Nia Jax hadn't have punched her in the face and broken her nose, they would have had a match at SummerSlam. And that probably would have been the end of it. And then Charlotte would have won the Royal Rumble and challenged Ronda. And that probably would have been it. There probably would have not been this huge Ronda and Becky thing. But there is, or it became that because she couldn't wrestle that match. So now everyone was like, we want to see that match. That would have been awesome because of that whole angle of her just, ripping at Ronda's arm backstage and then, attacking everybody on the thing, and her nose is bloody. It was awesome. So now we wanted to see it. We didn't get to see it. So it just built, but they still wanted Charlotte in there. So they kind of just, you're not going to have the match. Charlotte is for no reason. And you should just give it to Becky, have her win both. She's the man. Everyone would love that. But I'm picking Ronda Rousey. I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey. I think there's all these rumors oh, this is going to be her last match. She might show up for another couple of weeks on Raw, and then she's going to pretty much retire and try to go have a family. And now there's reports that she's going to be staying. Shayna Baszler just won the NXT or retained the NXT Women's Championship, which I didn't expect. My jaw was on the floor when it happened. But now it's okay, so now, Baszler is a champion. If Ronda won both of these belts, that would be awesome. That would solidify maybe the 4 horsewomen of MMA, are actually building they are going to get belts and just like the Undisputed Era wanted to get all the belts. But oh boy, but yeah, Ronda, I think it's going to be a swerve. I think I've picked mostly the faces to win. It's WrestleMania. The faces have to have their shining moment, and everybody can cheer and be happy, and it's a great time. Well, Ronda's the heel, and Charlotte's a heel too, but Ronda, and because I think she's this celebrity, she was handed the Raw Women's Championship a few months after she came in. She hasn't lost really technically, and now there's reports that she's staying. She's probably gonna tell Vince if I'm gonna stay, you're gonna give me both belts, and I'm gonna be the first woman ever to hold both belts at the same time. So I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey, and everyone's going to be furious because it's going to end like that, and they're going to give it to Ronda, who didn't come up through NXT, who didn't spend her life trying to get to this moment. She was in judo or whatever, trying to win a gold medal at the Olympics, and then went into fighting, And like, so she's kind of going from like career to career, but these other women like Charlotte and Becky, like this is what they wanted to do. Well, maybe not really Charlotte. She always tells the story like it was her brother that wanted to be a wrestler, and when her brother passed away, sadly, she kind of like took it upon herself to finish his dream, which is great. But I mean, she was born into it. I mean, Ric Flair is her dad. There was really no escaping it. But you know, Becky Lynch, her whole life, she wanted this moment. But Ronda has. I mean, I'm not saying that she wasn't a wrestling fan growing up. It's widely known that she was friends with Roddy Piper. That's where she got her whole gimmick from. And they didn't steal it. It wasn't like Vince saying like, "Oh, just take his gimmick." Like, no, Roddy Piper gave her the okay. Like, hey, you can use my gimmick and stuff. So I mean, there is connections. I'm not saying that she's not a part of it, but she didn't do it the way most of these other women did. So for her to get it would piss everybody off. It would piss everybody off. So I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey to win both belts. I know I probably picked a lot of things that, you know, they're probably going to give it to Rey Mysterio, not Samoa Joe. They're probably going to give it to Triple H, not Batista. And who knows, Brock might even win. And it's probably going to be Becky Lynch taking both belts away. But I'm going to pick Ronda. I'm going to go with the swerve and the heel winning, just to rub it in everybody's faces. And I think, like Brock, she's a big enough household name. I mean, Brock's not really a household name, but he makes huge amounts of money elsewhere to where he can leverage that against Vince. But Ronda's a household name. I mean, she was a household name when she was in UFC, and now she does like movies and things. So she has the leverage to say, Vince, either give me both belts or I'm never coming back, or something like, or I'm not going to re-sign my contract. So I think for her to stay, Vince might have to give in. So I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey. So just to go through it again, I picked Tony Nese to win the Cruiserweight Championship. I picked Braun Strowman to win the Battle Royal. I picked Mandy Rose to win the Women's Battle Royal. I picked Ricochet and Aleister Black to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Boston Hug Connection to retain their Women's Championships. Roman Reigns to defeat Drew McIntyre. The Demon Finn Balor to beat Bobby Lashley. Samoa Joe to retain against Rey Mysterio. AJ Styles to beat Randy Orton. The Miz to beat Shane McMahon. Kurt Angle to beat whoever he faces, Baron Corbin or otherwise. Batista to end Triple H's in-ring career. Kofi Kingston to beat Daniel Bryan. Seth Rollins to beat Brock Lesnar. And Ronda Rousey to beat both Flair and Lynch for both women's belts. Thank you for joining me on the Wrestle podcast. I've been your host, Movie Master Mike, reminding you to speak your geek and balance your geek with Geequilibrium.